Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Carry Code, where we talk all things carry and EDC. So pocket knives, flashlights, screwdrivers, travel essentials, anything that's cool, fun, makes you excited about everyday carry. That's what we're focused on here at the channel. So what are we going to talk about today? We've got something cool. You can see it's a Benchmade, but which one is it? It is the new Crooked River, Mini Crooked River. So for many of you, you've probably seen the original Crooked River out there for a couple of years. Had a very woodland look to it, very hunt inspired. This one's going a little bit different. You've got the copper, that has been really popular. Just got them laid out here. We might as well do the comparison. All right, we got the copper Osborne. And we've got the Bedlam carbon fiber. It's got those copper accents as well. They're a little bit more toned down, but this is kind of the aesthetic that they're going for this year. And I mean, it looks good to me. I really like it. You can see size comparison here. The Osborne, pretty much the same size, just a hair longer on the Mini Crooked River. We'll throw another comparison here too. We got the pair of 3, you can see a little bit longer on the Crooked River. And then here is a Kaiser drop bear. You can see definitely a little bit longer there. So not the smallest knife, but definitely, smaller than the Bedlam here, the Mini Bedlam. But it's a great looking knife. I've been looking at the Crooked Rivers for a couple of years. I always thought they're kind of cool, but they didn't always fit the aesthetic that I typically go for. But I really like this one with the copper, with the black micarta. It looks good. And the clip point blade, I think, is a very, very useful blade. Thinking about the Osborne, everybody loves the Osborne. I love it too, but the blade shape's kind of different, and when you've got this one in your hands, that blade always kind of feels like it wants to point down a little bit. So it's harder if you want to kind of do a flat cut or something. So it's a great knife, but the ergonomics to me are always not quite on point for what I want. And this one just kind of solves that for me. It's got great ergonomics for my hand. I've got, largest hands here. You can see it fits my hand well. The blade orientation is great. It's got that little bit of jimping that Benchmade typically does up here. So just really, really nice little folder. I love the classic look of it too. This is the type of knife that you would in the past want to pass down, in your family. Like, this is the type of knife that your granddad would pull out and say, this is the knife I bought when I was 20 years old and I've had it. That's the kind of nostalgia, the classicness that this knife has, that I think is going to appeal to a ton of people. Just beautiful, beautiful knife. So let's talk about the specs a little bit. Blade steel, MagnaCut. I love that Benchmade is finally getting on the MagnaCut train. MagnaCut is the super steel of 2024, 2025. It's really got an unmatched combination of edge retention, toughness, and corrosion resistance. So, if you're going to get this thing wet, you can beat it up, and MagnaCut is just going to keep going. So, really great. I love the Battlewash finish on this that they also have on the Osborne. It hides scratches well. It has a great look to it. Kind of has that little bit worn, a little bit rustic kind of appearance, which I think blends so well with the knife, especially in a black DLC Battlewash type finish. So really stylish. You've got the canvas micarta, so if it gets a little bit wet, it's still going to stay pretty grippy. You've got the anodized aluminum and the copper, so some nice premium materials here. They're definitely not skimping on that at all. It's got steel bolsters on the inside. They've been cored out to kind of reduced weight. I mean, this is not the lightest knife in the world, but it's not bad. I mean, it's 2.5 ounces. So it's really not bad for its size. I mean, weight-wise, I'd say it's a little bit lighter than the Kaiser drop bear. But a little bit heavier than the Osborne. So, you know, it wouldn't be bad. You can put this in your pocket. It's not gonna bother you. You're not gonna feel it. Overall length, we got a little bit under 8 inches, 7.89. Closed length of about 4.5 inches. So it folds down pretty nice. Benchmade, you know, as always, no deep carry pocket clip. I really, really wish that they would come up with a new clip design. I mean, this one's fine, but every time you're carrying one, you know, you've got a 1/2 inch of knife sticking out of your pocket. Or when you're looking at like the Mini Bedlam, you've got like, I don't know, close to 1 inch of knife sticking out of your pocket, and with the glass breaker up there too. So, you know, I really, really wish that they would focus on that as an improvement in their next lineup, you know, in figuring out a way to integrate a deep carry clip. You know, it's not that hard. Just the other day, you know, I reviewed this Kershaw Dawn Star, right, that is $35-40, and they've got a deep carry pocket clip. So why can't we do that? Why can't we do that, Benchmade? If we're paying as much as we are for the Benchmade knives, we should be able to get that deep carry pocket clip in there. I just think it's one of the short-sighted things that just kind of frustrates me a little bit with Benchmade, that they could do better, and it really wouldn't take that much to get there. So, you know, it's got the axis lock. Love the axis lock. You know, it's super fidgety. It's very, very reliable, very robust, very secure. You know, for knives that I use, one of the big things for me is making sure that the knife feels secure. I do not want it slipping on me when I'm trying to use it. If I'm bearing down on it, I don't want any play in this blade. So every knife that I use and that I carry is one that can lock, and the axis lock is really one of the best. So really like that. Now I will say this one, it needs broken in. You know, it's okay on the action to come open when you're using the thumb stud, but the closing is going to need a little bit of work. So, you know, it's nothing that a little bit of oil or a little bit of, you know, adjusting the pivot here won't fix. But it is a big thing with Benchmades over the last 2 years or so. I mean, unless you're getting one that's kind of like their super high-end class that they've, you know, done some extra work on to make sure that it's nice and smooth, then, you know, you're kind of getting these, like, you know, there's a lot of the new bug outs that have come out, like that I've felt in stores and stuff. They're just super sticky. You know, they're I don't know if they're over tightening the pivot to make sure that they don't have any blade play, or if it's just they're not oiling or something, but it is something that, you know, Benchmades do take more break-in and a little bit more effort to get going than a lot of others. You know, for the price point, you know, I think it was probably about $140 cheaper for this Kaiser drop bear, and, you know, it's just fall closed out of the box. So again, cheaper knife. Why can't we do that, Benchmade? I mean, Benchmade is pushing pricing. They're nice knives. They are using nice materials, but there shouldn't be any reason why we can't have a little bit more fit and finish and make sure that these premium heirloom knives that we're purchasing, that we want to hand down to our children's children someday, can't have a little bit better out of the box feel, so that you can have that fall closed and that nice easy open. I will say this one had a little bit of lock stick as well. I think that's just going to get better over time as that pin wears a little bit. But if you do have a hard deployment, if you really fling that out there, it is a little bit harder to disengage that. Now, it's never gotten fully stuck, but there is just a little bit of stickiness there that you can feel on those extra hard deployments. So what else? Balance, this feels really nice in the hand. Like I said, it's really, really great to hold. Ergonomics feel great. It does have nice balance. It feels like that balance point is right there where you're going to hold it. So, you know, this might be really good for cutting, you know, like food, or maybe even doing like some skinning or some like whittling type tasks. It just feels like it has some great balance to it. So aesthetically, ergonomically, really, really well laid out knife. And, you know, that clip point blade too, it's going to be really good at kind of those precision cuts if you want to do that as well. So very, very versatile with the MagnaCut, with the clip point blade, with the corrosion resistance that the MagnaCut offers, the ergonomics. This is a do everything knife, right? You're going to be able to get 99% of the tasks that you want to do done with this knife, whether it be cutting down cardboard, opening packages, filleting fish, cutting fruit, you know, whittling, whatever. Taking it out on a boat, it's going to be good. It should survive for a long, long time. So, last thing, price. Where is the price on this guy? Well, as we speak right now, $320 on Benchmade's website. So, not super cheap at all. Like I said, Benchmade is really pushing pricing. But when you compare this to some of the other Benchmades that are out there, it's really not terrible. You know, you get kind of the aesthetics of the Bedlam a little bit, some of the good ergonomics, but much cheaper price. You know, you're getting that MagnaCut, which is really nice. You're getting a lot, you know, for that $320 you are. But it is expensive. I mean, not everybody is out there buying $320 knives. And if they are, a lot of people are probably just buying one. But I will say, if you're a Benchmade fan, if you're really into their aesthetic and their history and their warranty, where, you know, they'll sharpen their blades for life for you if you just send it back in, I don't know. This is probably near the top for me from Benchmade. You know, I've felt a lot of them. I prefer the non-assisted knives, so I would tend to be more looking at, like I said, the bug outs, the Osbornes, the Mini Crooked Rivers. This one has more character for me than the Osborne, so I think that's a definite plus aesthetically. And like I said, ergonomically it's better. I mean, nothing ergonomically really is better than the Mini Bedlam. I mean, that thing just fits great in your hand, but this is also a lot of knife that a lot of people aren't going to want to carry. It's heavy, it's big, it's a little bit intimidating, and it's pricier. So I think this is a real sweet spot for Benchmade, price-wise, ergonomics. You know, it's not really tailored to one specific task. It's kind of going to be pretty good or great at most tasks. So I think a lot of people couldn't go wrong with this. And, you know, material-wise, fit, finish, it's up there with the best of the Benchmade knives. And, you know, if you're comparing it to, say, like the brand new 2025 bug out that's $400, like this looks like a steal next to that. I mean, that knife is okay, but I don't think it has MagnaCut. I'm pretty sure it's still like S90V. It does have Micarta and aluminum, but again, the fit, feel, and finish is way better on this guy than it is on those bug outs, in my opinion. I guess one other thing we didn't check was centering here, but centering to me looks great on this guy. So really, I think this is a great knife for a lot of people. It's going to be good at a lot of tasks, and I don't think you can really go wrong with it. I mean, Benchmade is a great brand, made in the USA. So if you're into Benchmade, if you're looking for a knife that's going to be an heirloom or something that you can pass down to your kids, that's got a classic look, maybe you're into hunting, maybe you're not, but I think this thing covers a lot of bases and has a lot of appeal. And, you know, for the money, it is a great knife. And I think a little bit of work, you know, get a little bit of lubricant in there, maybe a little bit of adjustment on the pivot screw, and this thing should move and flip open and close like butter. And at that point, it's going to be a great knife. And, you know, for me, this is a knife I'm going to try to pass down to my kids, right? This is the type of knife that I wanted as a young adult to be passed down to me from my grandparents, from my dad. You know, just something that had that classic cool look. It's something that they're going to remember and say, oh, that's the one Dad always had. So I think you can't go wrong. Really great knife. So if you're interested, link is down below. You can click on it, and you know, I'll get a small commission for if you purchase it through my link. So if you're interested, if you're thinking about purchasing it, I'd really love and be thankful if you would you know, use my link and help me out with the channel a little bit, so I can keep bringing you content and reviews on knives and other cool stuff that you can look at. And if you haven't already, subscribe below, check out my other videos, and everyone have a great day. Thanks again.